How big is your stack on PulseChain? How big is your stack? Heavy stack. How big is your stack on PulseChain? How big is your stack? Heavy stack. I was looking for a chain, something new, decentralized, Ethereum node, stacking PLS, liquidity on the decks. Somebody help me. My sack is so heavy. Get some Sparkswap, get the DEX vaults, get the GOAT token, Legion protocol, get some PDI, get some P-drip, get some teddy bear, get some P-hex. You know we here for the 100X. With your heart, always with the Gucci bags. I asked you once, I asked you twice. How big is your stack on PulseChain? How big is your stack? Heavy stack. How big is your stack on PulseChain? How big is your stack? Heavy stack. It's both a blessing and a curse, having a sack this big.
My sanctuary.
PulseChain.com. Awesome. It's got higher throughput. It's deflationary. It burns 25% or more of the fees. There's no inflation. It never mints new coins.
How big is your stack?
It's going to be the world's largest free airdrop. So people love free money.
How big is your stack?
And they don't like the high fees. And this addresses all those issues. It's really cool.
How big is your stack?
Could Pulse do the same 10,000x that Hex did? Yes, it could.
How big is your stack?
The likelihood of that event? I don't know.
How big is your stack?
I got a few tricks up my sleeve. I got some more cool shit coming.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to EMP.Money. My name is AJ. I'm the team lead here, and this is our live AMA. We come to you every Monday and Thursday at 6:45 p.m. Eastern. We have a jam-packed episode today. As usual, lots of alpha. We even have a giveaway, so make sure that you guys stay tuned the whole way through. We'll have a lot of bullish updates as well. Without further ado, though, I want to introduce both my co-hosts and fellow team members. We'll start with Jake. Jake, DEX CEO, how are you, brother?
Very good, very good. How are you today?
Good, man. I know you're a staple on the AMAs now, so we're just gonna have you on at least hopefully once a week as we move forward and give a bunch of updates. I know we'll talk first about CETO, some really incredible updates with the CETO 404, and we'll get into that in a minute. But let's introduce also LA, the original co-host with the most. How about that? So LA, how are you?
Good. Hey, guys.
Awesome. All right, good deal. Well, and I'm feeling a little under the weather today. I know when you guys have kids, it's just a perpetual cycle of giving sickness to each other. So I'll let LA may have to jump in if you guys can't hear me. I might have to have a coughing break. But we'll start with Jake. We have a really bullish update and really want to start teasing the CETO 404s. I know on the last AMA, I think it was 2 AMAs ago, we dropped a little bit of hints, but now we're actually ready to go over the documentation and really what they are. So, Jake, I don't know, do you want to share your screen and go over the docs, or do you just want to talk about them? But I think it's really important that we give people an idea about how different these 404s are and how bullish they are, for sure.
Yeah, I could share a screen, and there's some cool stuff in the docs. We could go over here. Hang on 1 second, actually. That's
All
a good
right,
idea.
awesome. Yeah, man, and maybe even get a little sneak peek at those sexy, not just JPEGs, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely, man.
And we can
Yeah,
start,
these are,
yeah, well, and I guess we can start there. I know you, obviously we're getting into CETO as an overall, but I know you, along with myself, but you have been more vocal about it. You hate NFTs, right? So, to have an NFT with actual utility is pretty bullish, right?
yeah. You got to call me on it as I'm launching
Yeah, as you're
NFT.
launching it, exactly.
Yeah, well, honestly, I've never, I dislike, JPEGs with no use. I think, it's a little bit of that, what is it, the tulip syndrome when they overpriced tulips back in the day, right?
For sure, for sure.
I mean, the technology is different. The technology serves a purpose, right? It's a tokenized, method of recording data essentially. And no, I've never really been a big fan of just overpriced JPEGs, but with the recent developments with NFT technology, and now that they're able to be liquid, I mean that's one of the hardest things for me to swallow is buying an image for more money than I think it's worth, and then not being able to sell it when you want is a tough pill to swallow. Um, but now
100%.
with these 404s now, though, it introduces like a whole new aspect of holding an NFT. And artwork can still be cool. I mean, I'm a fan of art in general, but I'm more of a fan of utility and what can be used, what can be done with the new technology.
Yeah, no, 100%. We have the same mindset. All of our NFTs that we've ever launched in our own protocol before, we ended up merging. I mean, we had that same mindset that there has to be some sort of actual utility attached to it. So, all right, I'm just gonna shut up and let you run with it, man. So, to go through again, maybe to just do a quick overview of CetoSwap too as well.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, you guys are probably familiar with CetoSwap. Another extension of Sparkswap and our mutual franchise system. Another franchisee on Manta. Again, if you're not, feel free to come check it out. It's just CetoSwap.com. And you guys, once you get there, you'll obviously be very familiar with it. A lot of the same. It's very similar to Sparkswap in a lot of respect. We have its own bridge. This should all look pretty familiar. Obviously, a little bit different themed, but very very similar process, right? So if you did want to get some funds over, you can go from BNB or Arbitrum, just like you can with Sparkswap, and bring your funds onto Manta to farm on Ceto. And of course, there's a whole bunch of different farming options. Also fairly similar to what you might see on Sparkswap. But one of the really cool things that we wanted to kind of discuss today, and also something that we're potentially planning on bringing over to Spark and the EMP ecosystem as well. Once we kind of get through this beta testing, is this kind of experimental 404 process, right? So again, just to kind of give you a background on what the 404s are. Essentially, it's like I said, it's an NFT, but it kind of combines both standards, right? It's an NFT with a token attached to it, right? So what this does is it enables like two markets, right? There's a normal marketplace you could list the NFTs on like OpenSea, right? Or there's a liquid market attached to it, right? So each NFT has a corresponding token to it, right? So anytime you buy a token, you also get an NFT with it, right? And that allows you to sell into this liquid market, right? And to give you a little bit of a little background, a little idea of kind of how that works, right? Now this may seem somewhat complex, but it's really not, right? So again, this is kind of what I was referring to, right? So your standard like ERC20 token, right? This is very similar to eShare or EMP or the Spark token, right? And everyone knows what an NFT is, right? But when you put them all together, when you combine the two, you wind up with what's called an ERC 404 token, right? it's a new standard which combines the two, right? So basically, if you're holding less than one full token, right? So if you're holding like 0.5 of the tokens, you just have the token, right? But as soon as you get to a full token, right? So like here's a good example, right? So let's say you have 0.5, like half a token, right? And then you buy another half, right? One NFT is automatically minted for you, right? And the same in reverse, right? If you have a full token and you sell a half of one, that NFT is automatically burned for you, right? And this is what creates this liquid marketplace. Now, this is a kind of a newer concept, obviously. This standard came out about a month ago, but what we did was we tore it down its base functionality and added a whole bunch of other stuff in it to really accentuate what we were looking to do, right? Some of the things like these are all modifications that we kind of came up with. It'll be the first like reflective. There's a tax on it, so that goes back to the holders, which means you're basically making money on the NFT just for holding it. Just by owning it, you're making money right off the bat. And then some of the more technical stuff, the way that they're re-rolled or reminted is another word for it, right? And then also a lot of cool things we did with kind of the way that that we're using it specifically, right? Like the first one was Pandora. That's had a lot of success, but there's really no use case for it. It's just this technology where it's just an NFT. It's just an NFT and a token at the same time, right? It's cool, but doesn't really do much, right? So what we did is similar to like the sparkler, right? Where each token, now each NFT essentially can give you access to the revenue of the protocol, right? And I'm trying to see here we go. So essentially this is, this should all be somewhat familiar to you guys, right? So it's a very similar revenue model that we have with Sparkswap, right? Outside of the 404 reflections, obviously. But swap fees, bridge fees, the bot revenue, the vaults revenue, perpetual trading fees, right? So all these have to go somewhere, right? Again, it's similar to the Sparkler where you kind of lock your tokens for a certain amount of time, and then you receive the rewards from the protocol. We're using this new kind of technology where if you're holding these NFTs, you're then awarded a portion of that revenue for each section, right? And kind of the way that works is, so this is an example of one category, right? These are all the Kraken NFTs, right? And there'll be probably more of these and different allocations of each. But essentially, if you own one of these Krakens, or if you own multiple Krakens, you get the allocation. You get the proportionate allocation for holding each one of these, right? So if you have two of them, you get twice as much, or three of them, you get three times as much, right? For each category. And that goes all the way down the list, right? So basically, each of these 6 different categories here have a corresponding NFT, right? So there's a little gamification to it, right? So in order to get them, you have to actually own the CETO token, which is the emission token, similar to the Spark token, right? But again, rather than locking them, we actually burn them. They're completely burnt during that process. I can show you kind of how this looks like, right? So essentially, as you're farming, right? If you're farming within the ecosystem here, you could be over here, right? And you're farming one of these pairs, right? You're earning the CETO emissions token, right? Now, what we do is once we built this kind of swapper, CETO swapper, we're calling it. And so even if you could be farming it here and put it through the swapper, or even if you want to buy it, the 404s, like with ETH, right? It goes through this process where it's essentially buying the CETO token and then burning it, and in exchange you get a burned CETO, essentially it's a receipt token for burning your CETO, right? And then with this burn CETO, you are now able to go purchase your 404 tokens, NFTs, etc. And another one of the kind of adjustments we made is you'll notice. So when you're buying CETO, when you're buying the 404s, you're actually going through this process where you have to use CETO and burn it, and then you can buy into this liquidity pool for the 404, right? But on the way out, we route everything through a separate ETH pair, right? So again, by having this 404 mechanism, you're able to actually get rid of, or sell your NFTs at any time, with or without a third-party marketplace, right? So, always coming in, you're burning CETO, but going out, we're not putting those tokens back into supply, which is another really kind of cool feature. And I think LA had talked. LA's got even has an opportunity to win one of these. Maybe towards the end of the what did we say? Towards the end of the show here. Or?
Yeah.
100%. Go ahead, LA.
Towards the end of this segment, we'll announce how they can win, and then that'll give me some time to prep it, and we'll pick it near the end of the show.
Yeah, so cool. When we finish up, we'll tell you what to do, and then stick around to the end to be chosen, and give LA some time. So I mean, that was a really great overview, Jake. I think that the key takeaways for me, at least, and when we were all brainstorming on how to make 404s even more bullish, I think the reflection is huge because these tokens are very high volume tokens because people are always trying to reroll. They're buying 0.1 of the token to get over that magic one number threshold, and then if they don't like that NFT, then they sell it. And repeat this process. But with the reflections, that means that is just generating a ton of quote unquote burn, so to speak, for those users that will be rewarded in it. So I guess just maybe clarify that a little bit, Jake. And I don't know what's the most bullish thing you see on these.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a combination of a lot of different things, right? Like just in general, the whole 404 mechanics are really cool, right? But honestly, once we got under the hood and started ripping it apart and seeing what we could do with it, honestly, there was actually quite a lot to be desired, right? There were some original kind of design flaws that maybe they just kind of rushed out to get done. A lot actually having to do with what you mentioned, this re-rolling process where you're trying to get the new, the better NFTs. And of course that's everyone's prerogative. Like, you want to get as many as you can. But we've also designed this to be farmable as well, which hasn't been a thing, right? So because we have multiple LPs that hold the 404s, right? You don't really know what you're getting, right? It's basically just this grab bag of NFTs that are associated with tokens inside of the LPs. But what we've done is we've kind of created this system where while you're farming, right, you can buy you can buy one or more than one, and you can actually farm with it inside the LP to earn more CETO like a normal farm, right? And inside this farm, you're actually also earning the reflections. So basically, we're considering all of the tokens inside the LP, one of these Krakens, right? Like the basic, the reflections, right? It's kind of like Schrodinger's cat, right? It's like until it's out of the LP, it could be one of the gold ones, right? But we don't really know. So we've just categorized all of those LP tokens as reflection tokens, right? So I think that's kind of one of the coolest things is you don't necessarily have to have like a full one, or if the price gets too high, you don't just have to necessarily be necessarily just kind of give up on it, right? You can just take your half of one, or let's say you have a couple of these Krakens, and they're not too valuable outside of the reflections ones. Like maybe they're not the top tier ones where you could possibly sell something, sell it for more on a third party market. Well, what you can do is you can just put it right back in the LP, and it's essentially like you're still holding on to it, but you're also earning not only the protocol revenue, but also, the farm revenue as well.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and I think again that solves a ton of issues that we're seeing with 404s, where it's not necessarily emissions based. It's more based on the reflective volume of that additional tax, so to speak. So yeah, I think it's really sick, and we've had a lot of brain power behind all these different upgrades and changes to the 404 for sure. So, all
Yeah,
right,
no joke.
yeah,
My
totally,
head hurts.
yeah,
My head hurts thinking about all the
yeah.
all
So,
the routes.
yeah. So yeah, I know we don't want to overwhelm people too much, but maybe just talk about the launch date and any other loose ends on how people can get involved, start saving up some CETO. Because again, you already mentioned it, but I just want to clarify: the only way to get these NFTs is actually having the CETO token or fresh ETH, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can. Well, that's the best part is the whole everything about this system is to add buy pressure to the emissions token, the CETO token, and basically the only way you're going to be able to buy, even if you have ETH, you're still going to have to buy CETO in order to burn it and then get the BCETO to get in, right? But luckily you have time. So the release date is actually coming this Friday morning. There's a launch countdown up here on the site you can use for reference. But we have a lot of different stable pair options. The more volatile pairs are paying quite nicely as well, or even just some blue chip options. You can get in now and just farm, keep farming some CETO, and you'll be ready for launch. You can just kind of ape in as soon as you get in. And I'm sure we'll have a lot further discussion about it. There's obviously the docs there available. You could check out to read more about it, which we'll be expanding on in the next couple of days as well. But again, even if you miss the initial, just you can always come back and jump in a farm and keep earning. So like I said, similar to the Sparkler.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, another bullish thing, again, I mean, this is all part of our franchise now, but we can learn what works, what doesn't work. I mean, hopefully everything does what we think it will, and this is the new 404 standard. But the whole idea is that no matter what it looks like, we definitely will bring this over to Spark eventually as well. So whether it's in tandem with Sparkler or making Sparkler even more powerful. So, all right, LA, there was a few questions that you had, I think, right?
I see one here from Darusik. Is there anything keeping you from sending one CETO back and forth between two wallets and re-roll the 404 without having to buy and sell?
Yeah, that's like I said, that's one of the advancements we kind of came up with because of this reflection, right? You can't necessarily just re-roll without a penalty, right? So you can for sure, but you'll have to go buy little more each time to get the full one.
For sure, great question. So yeah, again, you could do that, but it will erode, because of that reflection, for sure. Yeah. All right. Any other questions or
And
any?
then
Yep.
what is the estimated return on the NFTs?
Yeah, that's always the question, right, Jake? So
That's
Yeah.
always the
we
question.
can't. Yeah, right. LA knows. We're not fortune tellers, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, again, I don't even know where to begin. I don't know if you want to take a stab at that, Jake, but it's
Yeah.
pretty impossible. I don't know.
Well, it's surely hard to give you like a precise answer on that one, right? But I guess I'll take a shot at it. Let me put a little in perspective, right? So, the total number of NFTs, right, is 10K, right? There's 10,000 unique, so they're all individual NFTs, right? But they're broken down into these 6 categories, right? Now, they're not these categories are not equal, right? So, don't quote me on this yet, but let's say there's maybe 4,000 of the Krakens, the reflection tokens, right? There's maybe like 3,000 of these, 1,000 of the bridge fees, 1,000 of the bot fees, and then less and less as you get up, right? So there may only be like 250 of the perpetual fees, right? Now, you guys can see for yourselves even the perpetual DEX on Sparkswap, right? I think we've done something like over 5K in the last week or two of just the beta version, right? So if you wind up being able to grab one of the the more rare ones, right, the perpetual ones, or the vault fees, they could be pretty significant. They could be they could hold some value for sure. And also one other thing I might have glanced over is to add to the gamification, right? If you can collect all 6 of them, you're also able to mint the ultra rare, the goddess Ceto NFT, right? She's the god of evil sea creatures that controls them all, right? So and that'll actually give you additional perks. But I mean, I'll tell you what, like at the bare minimum, if you can kind of compare some of the farms now, right? So like the Ceto Ceto US Dex farm or the Ceto ETH farm, these are paying like 600% APR. So just by having one of the Krakens, if you want to put it in a farm, we'll probably yield something similar to that. It's a native farm that we're going to keep APRs high on, and then in addition to that, you'll get the reflections based on the volume. And again, if you can kind of work your way up to having the whole set, or you're lucky enough to grab one of the more rare ones, it could be pretty lucrative.
For sure. Well, and again, I mean, all that, take that with a grain of salt, but I think another good comparison is just price appreciation of the 404s themselves. I mean, I think we have better token economics, obviously a lot more bullish implementation, and some of the 404s, I know you mentioned Pandora, I know there's another one, I think Ducks or something. Ducks with dicks. I don't know. But they're in what, multiple 4 figures at least, right? I don't know what is.
Yeah, yeah. Pandora. I mean, I think it hit it was in the upper 20s at 120,000. That's thousands. At one point for one of them.
For sure.
And we'll probably start in the hundreds. Under in the 200 range, maybe somewhere like that. So it definitely pays to get in early, and especially if you can farm for free, so
for sure. Yeah. Cool.
Really.
Awesome. All right. I think that was a great overview. I know I'm hyped. We're gonna start an AMA train as well, so stay tuned. Along with everything else we're pushing, we're gonna be talking a lot more about Ceto and the Ceto 404s. So, all right. Awesome. Yeah.
You might even be able to. I was gonna say you might even be able to find a couple Spark Easter egg NFTs in there.
I love it, man. Yeah. So again, this AMA's got all the alpha. So I didn't know we were allowed to talk about the goddess NFT. So yeah, that's gonna be sick. And yeah, the Sparkies, we may have some Easter eggs. So there may be some Spark inspired sea creatures or robots. And yeah, we'll be giving away some perks for those too, for sure. So
it's Easter and all. So
I'm loving all the art. It's sick, especially how much of it is pink. Honestly.
Yeah, LA is loving that for sure. So all right,
pink and gold. I mean,
you wouldn't even believe how much time. In fact, honestly, AJ, we got to start on the Spark NFT, man, NFT artwork, because
start now, right?
Takes so much time, man. Honestly, with these each kind of category has subcategories, right? So like these are kind of one of the basic ones, but there's like a synthwave theme and a purple and a couple gold rare ones. So it's pretty intricate.
Yeah, Jake's been NFT hell, getting them all together for sure. So we know it's a handful. I mean, literally 10,000 unique images. So yeah, for sure. All right, and then let's give. We're gonna give one away. Or, go ahead, Ellie.
Yeah, I was just gonna say before that, on Thursday we will have a walkthrough of how to buy one.
Yes, 100%.
As a reminder, right before they go live. So
cool. Okay. Yep. we'll follow up with that. Was there any other loose ends we didn't cover from the notes, LA?
No, I think that's a good overview, and then we'll touch on some more details again on Thursday to
All right,
remind everyone.
perfect. All right, so how do we give one away? Go ahead, LA. I think we're gonna
Awesome.
go ahead.
Okay. So if you are live, you'll only be eligible if you're listening live right now. So I apologize if you're on the replay, you're not going to be entered because we're going to do the drawing while we're live here. If you are listening live, if you're on Telegram, go ahead and hop onto YouTube now because you'll need to enter into the live chat on YouTube. To enter to win 1404, type in 404 into the chat. Only do it once each because I need just everybody's username. So don't go and type it 17 times each. I'm
Perfect.
going to go ahead and type all of your usernames into a giant wheel. And while we cover everything else, it's going to give me some time to type everyone's name in there manually so that we're all set for the drawing.
All right, sounds great. Yeah, we'll pull it at the very end of today, the live stream.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. If you're listening to this after the live stream, maybe join us again on Thursday. We might have another opportunity.
All
and
right.
you can only if you've also liked and subscribed to the channel. So make sure to go ahead and do that too.
Yes, absolutely. I know I forgot to mention that at the beginning. I was too focused on the SAC intro, but yeah, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to be eligible for sure. So, all right, awesome. Well, I have my seat already, Jake. I'm gonna be aping hard into these. I think they're super bullish, and again, I think we may have cracked the code, making a much better 404 in general with this. So I'm super excited. But all right, any other topics before we move on to some other things?
I think that was a good overview. We don't want to overload the folks here, but it's coming up soon, so I want to make sure everyone's aware and gets the first crack at it.
All right, awesome, brother. All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on to more updates then. We will see you, or if you want to hang out, Jake, we may have some questions at the end. I know you're busy. If not, that's okay. But all right, man.
Yes.
Perfect. All right. Hang on 1 second. Let me get my notes back up. Bear with me.
All right. I'm going to start entering names while we do that.
All right, perfect. Let me get my
Look
notes.
at you, OMC. You were so quick to enter that first.
Oh, yeah, Old Man Crypto's on it, huh? All right. All right, here we go. All right, so again, appreciate JP on some really bullish things with CETO. That is now part of our umbrella, or what we're calling our franchise. We're ever growing, and it's really exciting. I know in the beginning, there may have been some soft FUD with who was involved in CETO. We're not going to go too much into that, but now we have full control of all the contracts. Again, it is part of our core protocols in the franchise of EMP, DexFi, Spark, CETO, and L1X. So, as well as SwapX, which we'll talk about. So, all right, I want to do a quick overview on PulseChain. Unfortunately, I think we're seeing another round of full capitulation. Pulse has just been getting hammered, but we said all along that nothing has changed in terms of our view on Pulse and the potential that Pulse has. So, even though it's been getting hammered, we think that everything is still extremely bullish long term. And now is really not a time to be impatient or discouraged, but more of a time to see opportunity. So, maybe you wanted to DCA more into Spark or Pulse, as well as maybe Hex. I know that I kind of oversimplified my assessment on one of our previous AMAs with BankX, but it wasn't really a hack. what happened was the Yardware wallet sacrificed into the BankX project way more than I think they anticipated. Um, call it a fat finger, I guess, where maybe they meant to sacrifice, 100 billion and they ended up sacrificing a billion or whatever the numbers were. But the good news is that we have seen BankX move funds over to Pulse to try to get out. So I think everything that Richard Hart was hoping by essentially murdering EHEX, has caused that BankX to sell. And then once those tokens are eaten by the community or Richard or whoever else, then we can really start seeing another movement up on Hex. So again, not to get too far off topic, but all of the Richard Hart ecosystem tokens, I think, are getting beaten down right now, but it's healthy over the long term when we get all the haters and everybody that capitulates, get them to essentially sell the bottom, and then we can move on from there. So, LA, anything you want to add to that? I know you've been seeing a lot more in the chats than I have, but yeah.
I don't have too much to add to that section, honestly. I just think that regardless of what's kind of happening in the overall environment on PulseChain, we're going to just keep building and killing it and giving everyone opportunities to yield, and it will recover. It's just if everyone needs to kind of keep their attitudes in the right place right now and kind of hang on for the ride.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and I agree. And I think, the major takeaway is that as long as we have users and volume and we're able to produce actual yield, that that can overcome, a lot of negative sentiment and buying pressure in the short term, for sure. So, all right, awesome. All right, moving on to Sparkswap specifically. Um, I mean, we're just the amount of development and building that is being accomplished right now is leaps and bounds of what we ever anticipated. We truly have the dream team. Uh, excuse me. We truly have the dream team now, and we're able to really build at lightning speed and not only build but actually get our roadmap accomplished. So, Ella, do you want to talk a little bit about that too?
For sure. Let me just pull that up. Yeah, so the amount of development and building that we're able to accomplish each week, I swear it's probably the equivalent to what most development teams are able to accomplish in a month, if I'm being generous, probably a few months. It's just absolutely inspirational to see what gets accomplished every week. So it's just been absolutely off the charts recently, and we're so excited about everything we're building. We have absolutely zero plans of slowing down because that's really what jacks us up and makes us feel most alive. So you're going to continue to see a lot of continued momentum on our end. And yeah, just remember that Sparkswap is about earning yield, and now is a better time than ever to build your bag. Obviously, this isn't financial advice in any way, but you can build your bag for a fraction of the cost and allow yourself to earn more daily yield. When the Spark price and the PLS price are down, you can get more for less. So that's kind of pretty awesome. And on a really plus note, the Sparkler is still paying out extremely well. And with all the additions we're making to the protocol, with these 2 additional bridges coming, the full launch of perps on the way, it's only going to keep getting better and better. So there's so much to look forward to coming.
Yeah, absolutely, LA. Perfect overview. And yeah, I mean, we talked about it in depth in our last AMA. So if you didn't listen to last Thursday, please go back and listen to it. But we talked a lot about the yield that we are producing, and right now we're still in build mode. Again, we not only are we building in terms of code, but we're building in terms of our coffers as well. So, obviously the ultimate goal is to support Sparkler and the price of Spark through our real yield, and that is 100% what we are doing. But the point is that yield is only going to get better over time. Even if we maintain the volume that we have right now, the idea is that we're not trying to, pay out Sparkler and do a bunch of Spark buybacks in the short term and potentially put us in a rougher situation down the road if and when we need that liquidity to scale, especially with the bridge. Again, the more liquidity in the bridge and the more liquidity in perps, the more volume we can actually handle, which means the more fees we're able to collect. So it is all part of the master plan. Um, and like Ellie said, those of you that take advantage of buying the dip and continuing the DCA into your Sparkler positions, you will have the best position possible when we recover and when we move away from the inflation of Spark, which is all in the works. I mean, again, we don't know when, but hopefully sooner than later. And then all of you that have been building, massive bags will reap the benefit of all of that. So, and again, the Ceto 404, we have a bunch of ideas for a Spark 404 that not only can support Spark, but also hopefully support Sparkler as well. So, if you're not bullish on Spark, I don't know what to tell you. We are becoming the backbone of, the actual real DeFi on PulseChain. I mean, again, with the vaults, with perps, with the bridge, we may not be the number one exchange, but we are, in my eyes, the number one infrastructure for real DeFi here. So, and that's only going to get better over time, 100%. So, I think Maxi just announced over the weekend that they're requiring all their perps and leverage trading and the actual exchange to KYC. So, it's really bullish to be having a platform that's fully decentralized and allows users to use it and do what they wish. So, all right, awesome. Anything else you want to add to that, LA?
No, I just think it's we're seeing more and more of that, like with the requirement to KYC, and it's bullish what we're able to do in a decentralized way. And
For sure.
I was even thinking, like, even platforms like Spritz that only require a light KYC and don't make you jump through all these hoops and wait for days and stuff, even something like that is just so much more preferential when it comes to on-ramping and off-ramping and all of that stuff. I was thinking about that today as I reread their announcement that they're coming to PulseChain.
Yes, let's fucking
Segue
go.
into that.
Yeah, totally. I know we were going to touch on that a little bit later, but yeah, that was super bullish. So, do we have any insider details on that, LA, or not quite yet?
No, but there was an announcement on Twitter officially, so I'm pretty excited about that.
For sure. So, even more of a reason to use Spritz. And obviously, again, we're working on those tutorial videos. We've already released some, but yeah, to be able to bridge whether it's through Arbitrum or BSC, and hopefully directly with Pulse shortly. So, super bullish. All right, awesome. All right, moving on then to SwapX. So again, I consider this part of our franchise as well. Although we're not part of the core team at SwapX, we are an official partner, and we will be helping them to build and be the bridging solution for them as well with Pulse and whatever else, obviously BSC, Arbitrum, whatever else comes with that. So we're really excited for that. And LA, we have a little a video as well on the
Yeah.
they've announced their pre-sale date, right?
Yep.
All right,
Yep.
so I'll show the video, and then we'll talk about it. Here we go.
Super bullish.
Boom. All right, there you have it. That's super hype. So officially February 9th, right? I'm sorry, February. No, April. April 9th. Yeah. So
We're so busy, we don't know what month we're in.
I
Yeah, no.
know. Yeah.
April 9th.
Yeah, April 9th. We're excited again. All of you that submitted to our guaranteed allocation within the first few hours, you've already received a message about that. Please don't respond to any scammers. They're out everywhere. So, all of you that already are in the know on what to do, you will have a head start. We'll give you more info on that. I think the plan is a 12-hour head start. And then everybody else that used AJ EMP Spark as their influencer to sign up under, you will need to be ready again April 9th, the absolute second that that contract drops, because I think that those NFTs will sell out in a matter of minutes, if not less. So the only thing you can do is just be ready and waiting. You will mint on the BNB network or BNB chain, but you will have to have Ethereum to mint. So just like the EMP ETH LP, that is the collateralized version of ETH on Binance or BNB chain. Make sure that you buy that actual Ethereum and are prepared to mint when they go live. Again, that we'll share the links and all the info as well. But again, LA, you've been helping to manage all that behind the scenes. So anything you want to add?
I can't tell you how many messages I'm getting. Oh, sorry, I dropped my phone. Saying, can I add? Can I
Yeah,
can I get the max allocation now, please?
Yeah, no
And I'm
doubt.
just like, I don't know, it's too late, I think. I'm not sure. Let me ask.
Yeah, totally.
Uh,
It's been
we're getting close.
I think people are finally realizing how bullish they are. So again, I mean, a very similar vein as the Ceto 44 or Sparkler, or any of these protocols now that are sharing their revenue with their user base. And SwapX has decided to do it through this NFT sale. And then those NFTs, not only do you get a SwapX airdrop of actual tokens, which is their bootstrapping event for their tokens, but you're also getting a percentage of yield from the real revenue of the protocol. So, no matter how you skin the cat, so to speak, I'm so bullish on protocols that are rewarding their users in real revenue, and SwapX is doing that. I think people are finally realizing how bullish these NFTs are, and there's only 3,000 of them, so 1/3 of what is a typical mint for sure. So
Yes. So just to kind of reiterate, the official date is April 9th. That was totally my fault. I wrote February in the notes.
yeah. LA threw me off, but I wasn't gonna throw you under the bus, LA. So
I'm just noticing because I nearly said it too.
yeah.
Oh, it's been a long day, guys. The official date is April 9th. I'm going to blame it on the fact that it's a leap year, even though it has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
But for those of you who are on the guaranteed list, you will be getting a head start. So I will either be putting out a pinned message or be DMing you ahead of time. I'm guessing in the next few days to give you the details on that if you are on our guaranteed list.
Perfect. All right, awesome. All right, anything else with SwapX before we move on to Fusion?
No, I'm just still laughing at myself. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, awesome. So, we again, all of you, when Fusion, we shared some really exciting news on the last AMA, and that we are really extremely close to announcing the Fusion launch date. And we're crossing off all of our final line items development-wise. LA and I are putting fuel in the AMA train. The diesel is we're pumping the diesel. And so we're getting really close, and all the contracts are finished, and about 90 to 95% of the items that we found on the audit have been completed. All that we need to do now is just finish the UI updates and tweaks, and then building out the marketplace. So the NFT marketplace is actually vital to Fusion, because not only is that part of the revenue stream of Fusion itself, but it also allows people to cash out of the system. So we would never launch, a protocol that you are handcuffed and can't, withdraw what you're due. So that is part of what the marketplace is as well. But we're super close, and I know our resident sleuths, Vino and maybe Jerusik as well. I know that they may have been able to find some of the contracts already live. So we're almost there, guys. It's getting closer and closer every day. But Ella, you want to talk a little bit about some safety precautions, though, as we get into this? Yeah.
Yes, so those scammers, they're already out in full force. So I'm going to go over some really important things. Please, please turn the volume on your ears up for just a second. As we get closer to sacrifice for Fusion, we are seeing an uprising in scammer activity. Please take note that the only place you will sacrifice will be through our official contracts on our site. The link and all of the instructions will be posted and pinned in all of our groups, and that is the only place that you'll find them. There are no alternate sites. There is no reason to connect to any additional places, to give your seed phrase, to talk to us in any DMs, none of that. I got news today that scammers have already started DMing people, telling them to sacrifice their EMP for Fusion and sending out a link. So please be careful. Now is the time, not in 2 weeks. Now is the time, not in a day, not in a week, not in a month. Now is the time to adjust your security settings. That you can't be added to groups without your permission, that you can't be randomly called or DM'd by people that are not in your contacts. Now is the time to pin our group to the top of your list, and now is the time to get yourself a hardware wallet. Because we know what would be not the cherry on top going into Fusion if you've just waited a year, and we are so excited to finally be going into Fusion only for you to get scammed and lose all of your funds. That would be absolutely heartbreaking, not only for you, but everyone to witness. So please be careful. Don't, listen to anyone. Always pay attention to only the pinned announcements, and please make sure you're only in our official groups and you make it impossible to get added into anything else without your permission. Rant over.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, it's so sad that we still have people that get taken advantage of. So please, I mean, this is the number one rule in crypto is not only making your crypto gains, but keeping your crypto gains. So please don't get scammed. It happens to the best of us, but we literally have been preaching for 2 years straight on all the best practices to use. And if it's not something that we discuss literally weeks in advance or have a pinned message in any of our socials, do not do it. And if it feels fishy to you, then please say something in our chats publicly and wait for a an actual admin. You can tell they have a label in the top right of their name that a scammer can't get. And just wait. I mean, in any worst case scenario, you don't have to rush to do anything. So if it sounds fishy, it probably is, and wait for public confirmation, from me or LA or any of the admins for sure. So, all right,
Yeah, even
yeah,
if you have to wait to hear our voice say it on an AMA,
for sure.
you know,
Yeah, yeah,
just
100%.
yeah.
All right, awesome. All right, moving on now to, are we ready to move on to L1X, LA?
Yep, yep, for sure.
All right, awesome. And this might be good too. Hopefully, Jake is still around. I don't know. It looks like he might be. Jake, are you still here, brother? All right. Well, I don't want to put him on the spot, but all right.
All right.
Oh,
Well, I'm here, buddy.
yep, you there?
Sorry. Yep,
All
I
right,
muted
awesome,
myself.
bro. All right, no worries, man. So if we get any additional questions or any other input, it might be good for you to be around for this particular part, as
Yep.
you and the guys have been, doing a lot of the heavy lifting. So, um, I guess, LA, do you just want to start with the first few kind of bullet points here, and then we can
Yep,
elaborate?
yep. So, in case you guys missed it last week, we made an important announcement regarding L1X, and we'll just kind of reiterate what was said. With the foundation having made the decision not to release any of the code prior to the mainnet launch, even though we've been really busy behind the scenes building, there's just only so far we can take the development without any of the actual code for the blockchain. We have been told that once the mainnet launch happens, the code will be open source, and at that point, we'll be able to pretty quickly finish our development and launch L1X. We have every intention of launching and still not only being the first, but the best DEX to launch on L1X. We know that obviously this is not originally what we had planned, but also due to the changes in the tokenomics that were completely outside of our control. With the new vesting schedules and cliffs, we've made the decision to launch our DEX with our own DEX token as opposed to using L1X as a reward token. We have tried everything in our power to make it work, but with the new tokenomics, it just wouldn't, and it makes a lot more sense sustainability-wise to launch with our own emissions token as well. In regards to the L1X mainnet launch, we have not gotten any official word. We have, however, noticed that there hasn't been any social media posts or announcements hyping up the April 2nd launch in the last few days. So we wouldn't be surprised if there was an impending delay announcement coming. That being said, that's just purely a guess or speculation. So you'll have to watch L1X's announcements and attend their AMA for full details on what's coming, because unfortunately we have been kept out of the loop on that one.
Yeah, 100%. So I think that's a great overview. Again, we're big fans of transparency, and there's been a lot that's gone on over the last year almost working, and this none of this is meant to be FUD or soft FUD or any of that. I mean, we want L1X to be as successful as we all hope it will be and think it can be. But the reality is that in order for us to move forward, there has to be some really key infrastructure that we still unfortunately have not gotten access to. So, I think Jake put it really well. And, like a great example is, an on-chain explorer, a block explorer. That is not a nice to have. That is a must have for development. And again, we haven't been twiddling our thumbs with L1X. I mean, we have a lot of the infrastructure, again, in Codebase built out, but in order to have a safe, functioning, mobile-friendly DEX, we have to have an actual chain to work on. And I know that we also posted some videos earlier on, of cross-chain swaps happening, and that absolutely was the case. I mean, none of that was photoshopped or filtered. The code base that we were able to see, did show the interoperability happening. So, but that is in a test environment, not an actual blockchain that's functioning. So, again, I don't know if you want to add anything, Jake, while you're here, or if we had some specific questions. But yeah.
Yeah, I'd just jump in quick and just note, it seemed like there was maybe some misconceptions, or maybe people had maybe taken the last announcement the wrong way. I just want to clarify that, again, there's no bad blood between us or the foundation. We understand that, launching a blockchain is a big endeavor, and they have their plates full. Unfortunately, we just can't control some of those things, and we had to adjust how we're going to operate in accordance with that. But I think AJ hit all the main points. Clearly we have a lot invested in this, and we want it to succeed, and we all think it can be the product that it was built as. But we just we just need the infrastructure. We need the open source code. We really need everything to be public and live, so that there's no confusion about some of that stuff. We can continue building.
I love it. Absolutely. Yeah. All right, perfect. So, and I think we have a few questions specifically about L1X we can get into, or L1DEX rather. But yeah, LA, any other points before we move on to Q&A?
Well, I think Q&A wise, there is a good one for you two to tackle while Jake is still here.
Yeah, we can start that one. I think I read it. If you can't find it, let me know, LA. But yeah.
I have it here. And there's a couple different variations of it on Discord as well, but I'll read the one from YouTube. What's the team's honest and unbiased take on the L1DEX changes with L1X? Is the EMP team still as bullish as they were last year when AJ and Jake were doing AMAs with them? Then there's a couple other variations of that on Discord I'll find to kind of add in as you guys answer.
Okay, yeah, I can definitely start with that. I mean, yeah, 100%. I mean, we put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, into making that the chain what it is. Again, like Jake and like we've said many times before, and now, just a minute ago, the reality is that a lot of the key, code has been kind of held under lock and key from Kevin, which I respect, man. It's like, if this blockchain is everything that he says it is, then yes, it will revolutionize, crypto. And he didn't want to share a lot of that with us, and that's not fun worthy. But it just puts us in a position that we have to build a DEX with our eyes closed, and that isn't something that we're comfortable with. So we made the decision on top of the dramatic economic changes, because originally, again, we wanted to have L1X as the reward token or the emissions token, and without having any tokens available, for almost 4 months, that just wasn't plausible with the cliff and everything else. So, but the answer shortly, yes, I'm still extremely bullish on L1X. I still think we can deliver with L1DEX. And, although there are some changes in terms of the economics, that doesn't mean that it's less bullish or less profitable for L1DEX. If anything, it's a bummer that there's not more use case for L1X. But, again, once everything is up and running, we can kind of look at that again if we had to, using some of the fees to support L1X through a buyback, and then reward, similar to how with Sparkler, half is Spark and half is Pulse. We may be able to support L1X in that way. But yeah, go ahead, Jake. I don't know if you want to add to that.
Yeah, no, I would echo the same sentiments. I mean, clearly, if if the end result is a fully interoperable blockchain, we can pass messages back and forth to EVM and non-EVM chains alike. I mean, yeah, super bullish for sure. And honestly, it's not even. I feel like it's a little bit. The concern is maybe a little overblown over proportion. I mean, like you mentioned, I mean, there is a working blockchain. We had access to, like the videos that you guys all saw. Those were working transactions. So we know it's there. It's just a matter of especially with the complexity of some of our code base and the things we want to do. It's just something that just requires a lot of deep testing to feel comfortable with, especially when we're talking about something as significant as what we're discussing, and the potential amount of money going into it. For us, a couple extra days, a week or a couple weeks to really get in there and see everything and make sure, everything is as it's projected. That means more to us than potentially tarnishing our reputation and potentially losing money for all you guys.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, Jake. And we again we pride ourselves on no exploits. We go through rigorous testing of all of our protocols. I mean, again, it's all part of not only making sure that the infrastructure is there, but that it's also safe. So, and we won't compromise on that for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. All right. Was that the gist of it, LA? I don't know. I think I touched on it a little bit, but the one I remember reading was, is not having a reward token be L1X gonna negatively impact. So I think I addressed that, but
There,
yeah.
there's a couple more, so I was just
Okay.
kind of waiting until you guys had another pause.
Yep. Go ahead.
With the changes to L1X announced during the last AMA, how do you think this will affect the revenue stream into Fusion? Do you think it might be less as a result?
So my answer to that is no. Again, we're not gonna do another raise. I think that there's been plenty of raises that have happened already. In terms of L1X, so the whole idea is that it'll just be an emissions token and Bootstrap itself, just like Spark did, and just like Ceto did, where you're rewarded for providing liquidity into the DEX. And again, that's to Jake's point. We can see massive TVL coming into the deck, so we want to make sure that it's bulletproof. Especially on a brand new chain, that there is no potential exploits. So that's all part of the process for sure.
It's funny. I got the exact same questions in my community as well. I think there's maybe I don't know, just a slight misunderstanding of how that the proceeds would even come about or funnel through. I mean, like guys, it's not like we were just airdrop free L1X tokens. I mean, it's not like it's not like there was never any ongoing costs associated with that, which is actually part of the reason why we had to go with our own DEX token, because volatility. There's a greater chance of volatility now without people having their tokens in hand and being able to provide liquidity. So honestly, nothing really changes. If anything, it gives us more freedom because now we're controlling. We have the complete control over the supply of emissions, and we can get creative with different. Maybe there's a L1 DEX 404 by then.
For sure.
So we have a lot more flexibility. Can do a lot more now. I think if anything, it's bullish.
Yeah, that would be my sentiment for sure. And bullish for both parties. Again, I mean, the idea is that, yeah, would it have been more bullish for L1X had we, not had been able to put all that energy into it? Possibly. But regardless, we're still going to support, L1X. I mean, we all have massive investments where we want L1X to succeed, just better than anything. So yeah, I mean, I think people's misconception is that we're kind of like, pivoting, but we are pivoting in a way that is best for everybody, I think, for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. I agree. And then there's one that wasn't added to the questions, but it was in the general chat, and I told the person to put it in the questions because I think it deserves you guys touching on it just to kind of clear up what was said. What are the potential negative implications of L1X no longer being powered natively by L1X coins? And then there's just an implication that there's a little bit of resentment and frustration on our end, and that if we hadn't have helped with the raises, we probably would have ditched the project altogether. So if you guys can obviously touch on that and clear that up, that would be great.
Yeah, I can go first, and then happy to have Jake comment too. But I mean, first of all, it's been a long road, and yeah, I mean, has there been some things that are frustrating? Absolutely. I mean, had we been able to just have the code open source to us, I think we could have made a lot more headway. But that's kind of water under the bridge, and that's really the only you know negative in the whole situation. There are no hard feelings whatsoever in terms of, working with the foundation, trying to make this work. At the end of the day, we all want the same thing. We want a successful DEX. We were given the opportunity to be the premier DEX. Hopefully that is still the case by the time Mainnet happens. And, obviously there's that L1X app, which again, is not as robust as what is needed for a fully decentralized DEX. And so we're still trying to get it over the finish line, within the first few weeks or days or whatever it may take, once the chain is actually live. So yeah, I apologize if there was any sort of frustration in the announcement, but it was really just a matter of us having to take our destiny into our own hands because we weren't going to just stand by anymore. We had to have a game plan that not only accomplishes everything that we said we would a year ago, but also actually lets us build a functioning DEX on L1X. So, yeah, I mean, it's time to put up or shut up, and we're putting up. So that's where we're at. But yeah, I don't know if you want to add to that, Jake.
Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of just answered most of that within the last 5 minutes. But yeah, I mean, honestly, guys, I think if anything, it's probably more maybe just shock value because maybe some of you, you guys obviously weren't. We've been holding out and really trying to, hoping that we would be able to get ready for launch. So for us, we've been going over it for a while, but again, I mentioned there's no animosity. I know it sounds like this is a huge drastic change or something, but we've been considering it for quite a while now. We've had contingencies, and then, like I said, I think if anything, it's actually bullish. We have a little more flexibility now, so I think it'll all shake out. I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Yeah, 100%. And if there was any, I think the question said what any negative impact whatsoever. I'd say the only possible negative impact would be that obviously there's less volume on L1X because having it be the reward token of the DEX, that would have put a lot more volume. But volume, again, that's not necessarily a good thing. I mean, Jake alluded to that earlier. There could be a ton of volatility on L1X on top of the new lockups and not having a lot of liquidity because of the cliffs. So just we had to take a step back and just look at the bigger picture. And honestly, in the beginning, we when we were first doing this before we went and did all the public AMAs, we were planning on using our own DEX token anyway. The idea is that we kind of had a meeting of the minds and said, man, how bullish would it be if we use L1X instead? And then that's when we really put the plan in motion. But yeah, it's not like a one or the other, sort of situation. It's us doing what we think is best long term.
Couldn't agree more.
Cool.
And guys, just remember that our number one priority is always our community. And so if there's ever a pivot necessary that is going to benefit the sustainability and the community and the project overall, we will always, weigh all those odds and choose the option that is going to be the most sustainable long term for the community, because you guys are always our number one priority. And in this case, just economically, it's what made the most sense. And that is the reason why we went in that direction. It had nothing to do with any emotions or anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And one more comment on that. The reason that we kind of did it last minute, again, hoping that mainnet is ready literally today, or depending on where you are in the world. But we were fighting, or I don't know, fighting is probably not the right word. We were championing up until the final hour to try to make the economics work. I mean, we had meeting after meeting after meeting, just really trying to rack our brains on how we can make it happen. And, unfortunately, it didn't happen, and that's okay. Again, there's no hard feelings, there's no negative impact in terms of revenue that we can generate through L1X. It's just simply what we feel is best for the long term success of the DEX.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that the majority of the questions were centered around that today. But let me just check for additional questions.
Okay. Yeah.
All of them seem to be in that same. It must be that L1X is on everyone's mind today.
Yeah, well, I hope that we see a mainnet again. We'll find out when all of you find out. That's what I put in the title today. L1X mainnet. So let's see. Hopefully we get a good update, and then we can hit the ground running and get L1X part of that, the infamous franchise. We're building again. We call it the mothership, the franchise. All these
The empire.
the empire. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Absolutely.
Yeah, love it. Well, what do you say we pick a winner, guys?
All right. Do you have a winner for a 404?
All right. So I'm cutting it off at My Journey. Was the last one. I've got everyone, My Journey included, entered in there. So we've got quite a large wheel here. I'm going to put on the volume. Oh, shoot. Let me turn YouTube volume off because it's a bit delayed, so it's still playing. Let me put so you guys can all hear the wheel because it's fun that way. All right, let's go. All right. Oh, why isn't it playing the sound? Oh, it didn't play the sound. Oh, My Journey, you won. You got it in at the last minute, and then you actually won.
What?
Good job.
Yeah. Awesome.
It pays to play.
Right on.
Sick.
All right,
Man,
there you have it.
that
Well,
was good odds too.
yeah.
I think there's like 50 people who entered. Sick. Okay, I'm gonna take a little screenshot of that too.
Perfect. Congrats, My
Awesome.
Journey. And yeah, we will have another giveaway, right, Jake, on Thursday, hopefully.
Yeah, let's do it. Absolutely.
All right, awesome.
Congrats, My Journey.
To clarify, that their tokens aren't live yet. So, My Journey, reach out to LA or myself, and we'll get you set up at launch.
Yeah, no doubt. Don't get scammed again. Yeah, we're the tokens are not live yet, so we'll handle all it through official DMs. And yeah, if it sounds fishy, it probably is. So we'll end up probably airdropping you the token, so don't connect to any sites or anything like that. So cool. All right, awesome. Well, I think that was a super bullish update as usual. Another long one, but the long ones seem to be more and more these days, just because we have so much to cover, and that just is a testament to what we're doing and what we're building here, and we're not slowing down. That's for sure. I know, Jake. We between all of our dev meetings with CEO Jake, LA, Alex, and our other Jake, our Chad, Jake, the original dev for EMP. Um, we it's like we got to prioritize all of our ideas, right, Jake? We can't build it all, right? Even though we want to.
We're going to build it all. Yeah, I mean, definitely prioritize, but like LA mentioned, man, we move at a quick pace. To be honest, that should give you something to hang your hat on anyway. Some hope for once L1X does go live. Once we have all the pieces, we'll kind of put things aside and make sure that's the priority.
For sure. No doubt. Well, and again, even though the code base is a little different, being, EVM and Rust, we have all the infrastructure of our own. We take these bits of code off the shelf, and boom, we got a interoperable perps platform, just like that. So we have so many things at our disposal now, and, that's the really exciting part is that no matter where we go and no matter what we do, all the puzzle pieces are finally in place, and we set up shop and we start earning and we start, rewarding all of our participants, and that's been the goal from day one, both in the DexFi and the EMP communities, and all those revenue streams are going to start funneling home now, and we're in for a hell of a year. I am excited for sure. So.
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right. Any final words, Jake or LA? Go ahead, and then we'll wrap it up.
I just want to say you guys are so amazing. We're so excited for everything that's to come. We had a super bullish meeting earlier to plan out some absolutely monstrous marketing coming for a few launches ahead. So we are going to start continuing to expand the massive AMA train that is on the way to the station, getting ready to embark on an incredible voyage ahead. But yeah, no, there's so much coming, guys, that I can't wait to celebrate with you guys, and to have you all here for the ride feels fantastic. So thanks for being here, and this is just one of very many bullish AMAs ahead. So let's get pumped. Fusion is almost here, and we're very close to all the things we've been very excited for quite some time.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys covered it all. You guys make this easy for me. I appreciate it.
Awesome. All right, killer. Well, we appreciate all of you. Again, we'll be back on Thursday. We come to you every Monday and Thursday at 6:45 p.m. Eastern. Keep an eye out for some other updates as well in our socials. In the meantime, lots of stuff happening, and we will keep everybody in the loop as it comes out. And please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Again, that really helps our reach and the algorithm, and all the ad revenue from our YouTube channel also helps to support our protocols. So, all right, good night, good day. We will see you on Thursday.